Welcome to The Impossible, where we empower others to face the impossible, inspire them to be impossible, and motivate them to do the impossible. We are live today at the Uncommon Breed Performance Gym in St. Clairsville. Guys, we just got a massive workout. Well, not too massive this morning coming off post-meet, but we got a great workout in this morning, and this is an unbelievable facility filled with some of the strongest people we've ever had the honor to meet, both of mind, body, spirit, and heart, all four domains of performance we talk about. And today we are excited to have one for the third time now for you guys. One of the greatest examples of our mission and our mindset and our vision for the world. The way Natalie lives her life, she is more consistent, more disciplined, with a stronger work ethic than I think about anybody we know. Even if you think you work harder, you probably are not working as hard as Natalie Zambori. Nope. She shows up every day to find her highest level of potential. And sometimes it doesn't always go exactly how you want it to or how you plan it to. And that's completely okay, because there's going to be challenge, there's going to be setback, there's going to be hardship, there's going to be things that you don't expect along the way that you have to work through and push through and still drive yourself to show up and perform at your highest potential. And that's what Natalie makes happen every single day. That's what she did throughout this entire meet prep that was not always the smoothest of journeys the whole time. And that's what she showed up to do at USPC Americas last weekend. So today, to chat about her meet and her experience and some of the cool stuff she's got planned going forward, is Natalie Zambori. Thanks for being on.
Well, thanks for coming and being here and having me. And thank you for that introduction, because I feel like I'm not worthy of such an introduction. I'm an art teacher who found something that they love to do. Yeah. And but thank you. I'm honored.
Well, we were talking about it before, though, during training, like we showed up, we started training like 6:30 this morning. Mm-hmm. And you were talking about like there's days where you don't necessarily want to come. There's days where you don't necessarily feel like coming. There's days where it's hard and you've got whatever challenge may have arisen that day, but you still show up.
Yeah. And honestly, I think like habitual action is just so important when you build discipline. And I think just the days that, especially with the change in the weather, I don't know if this is something that happens when you get older or what, but the change in the weather starts to get cold out and you're like, man, my bed is so warm and comfortable. And I always wake up before my alarm, like 1 minute before my alarm. So when like my 3 a.m. alarm goes off, I have to make myself throw the covers off, because it's just important to, as like some type of ritual, to do that and then get up. And once I'm up, like I'm coming, like it's gonna happen. I just think building that, like, I am going to do this no matter what, this is what I do mindset is super important when you want to make yourself a disciplined person. And I'm grateful for being able to build that over the course of years doing this. And I think it helps you become the most consistent version of yourself, and then that just transfers into like everything you do. Because I know a day that I wouldn't do that, it would really like wreck the other parts of my day probably, just because of what that process does for me every single morning. It just sets me up for success in other areas of my life, even when it's a bad day in the gym. It's a good day because you woke up, and you are so blessed to wake up every single day and not take it for granted. So,
and you've got the ability to come out and perform in at least some capacity.
And I think you guys know that better than anyone. That perspective that I have, I'm sure that you have, that it's like I woke up today, I'm going to do something with it. has changed my life, and just watching Leo go through what he went through, and all the kids that we have been blessed to meet along the way, I refuse to take that for granted, because there are so many people that would love to be able to get out of bed every morning and do the things that we can do. And so I will not make an excuse that I feel is so invalid when there are people who physically cannot do these things. So
yeah, that's a great perspective to have. And just to like really put this example in perspective for people, you've been doing this for what, 3-4 years now? It's like it's been waking up at 3 a.m. to train. 5 years. Okay.
So,
and in 5 years time, how many days do you think you've missed roughly?
So I've not missed since I've been training. And the reason I haven't missed is because of Leo. When he rang the bell, I knew I had to change. And from that day forward, I would not miss a training session, because I owed it to him to be the best version of myself moving forward. And I felt like through his treatment, I was that. And I'll say that proudly. Like, I was going to make sure every pill, all the timing was correct. All the interventions he needed were taken care of. He had the food that he needed to fuel his body, like, through his treatment. Everything that I could control, which was hard because there's a lot you can't control when you're going through cancer treatment. But I was going to do that and be the best mom to him that I could possibly be at the time. And I felt like I did that. But then my health definitely was not in the best place at the end of that. And so I knew I got to change to be the best mom and the best person that I can be moving forward to. And so I went all in on that, because I was definitely all in on, okay, we're gonna see this through for 3.5 years, when he was in treatment. And now we're just gonna see it through forever. And yeah. I think that's kind of where we're at now, and he's thriving and wonderful, and it makes me smile just looking at him. It takes my breath away, seeing him do the things that he does and excel in everything that he's excelling in now. So I needed to find that purpose again after he was finished with treatment, and I think that is my drive and my motivation, and he is my why forever, as is his brother. But it's the reason I don't miss. If he could get up out of bed and throw a baseball, the little sticky styrofoam kind, in the hallway at Children's Hospital while attached to an IV pole, I can get up and go to the gym and lift some weights and take care of myself. And I'll always see him doing that, like, in my mind, and it's like, you have no excuse. Your excuses are invalid. And that's why I show up.
Yeah. And I want you guys to just think about that for a minute. 5 years in a row, waking up at 3 a.m. to go train, and then going to go train. And take this even outside of the context of training. 5 years is roughly 1,800 days. Can you think of anything you've done for 1,800 days in a row without missing? Like, I don't know that I've got something.
Other than breathing? Not a lot.
Breathing. Yeah. I don't even know that I've eaten for 18. Actually, I just had several days where I did not eat in a row because I was very sick. But I want you guys to think about that. And I don't highlight this to, like, make some comparison of, like, oh, you have to be on Natalie's level or you're inferior in some way. That's not what I'm trying to prove here. I want to show this as an example that we have the capacity to do this. We have the capacity to show up for 1,800 days. And I know she's going to show up for the next 1,800 days and the next however many days after that. and be consistent in something that you have decided is important for you and something that you have decided is a priority for you. And I think so much of the time we just need to open our minds to that potential. We need to give ourselves permission to believe that that's something that's attainable, that that's something that we can do. Because I think especially when you're new to training or you're new to a new plan or something like that, it's so easy to fall into these little ruts of like, oh, I'll be consistent for a week, but now it's the weekend, I'm going to go off plan. Mm-hmm. Or with anything, whether it's diet, training, studies, whatever it is.
The I'll start tomorrow mentality, mm-hmm. I think puts a lot of us so far behind.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that because when I was super overweight, the diet was followed the training. Like, so it was like, oh, well, I'll start tomorrow. Well, I think during my I'll start tomorrows, I probably gained another 30 pounds during my I'll start tomorrows with diet. Thank goodness I started moving my body at that time, but I definitely didn't lock in on changing my habits as far as nutrition. And I fell into that trap of like, I'll start tomorrow. And then it all came together, and I'm very fortunate that happened, with that, like, just that switch flipped in my head. And it's like, this is who you are. Mm-hmm. This is who you've always been. Mm-hmm. And I think when you lose yourself for a little while, you start second guessing who you are. You know who you are. And I've always been this person. It's just there was a detour along the way, and I don't think anybody has to train every single day. It's whatever works for you. This is what works for me in my life. Yesterday Nolan had college visit 2.5 hours away in PA, and we needed to leave by 6 a.m. So I was like, okay, well, typically on Saturdays I do train a little bit later, but a little bit later is like 6 a.m. So I slept in a little bit because that's what I do on Saturdays and Sundays, because with my family I'm up a little bit later on Fridays and Saturdays. And because I do sleep, I go to sleep early when I can, which is through the week. And that's the only way you can do this. You can't cheat sleep and like wake up at 3 a.m. every day. I'm sure you can do it a couple times, but it will absolutely catch up to you, and it will catch up to my 42-year-old self very quickly. So I make sure that I prioritize sleep. So I slept in a little bit, and I got up, and I just had some conditioning to do, and I was like, I'm just going to get on the treadmill downstairs, put on an incline, and I walked 4 miles in an hour, got a nice sweat, and then got ready and went with my family. So, that was sufficient for me. I didn't miss. And I like that I am more flexible as far as that kind of thing goes now. But I can make it work anywhere. And I love that too. That, you can still live your life and be this way. I think a lot of people think, well, you probably have no life if you are like this, but I absolutely do. And it's, I think it's more enriched than ever now, especially because the boys are involved in so many things, and I never miss any of that. And that's part of my reason for the mornings as well, because nobody's doing anything, everybody's asleep. So it works.
And it's because you do this, you've got this plan, you've got this system, that you have this life that you have. Mm-hmm. I would venture to guess like that. Yeah. The two go hand in hand. And like you say, you've built the skill of adaptability, which is one of the most important skills we can possibly build. Your plan has to be able to be adapted. And not only that, but you as the individual have to be able to be adaptive, because things are going to arise. Like right now, I've got a pretty bad bone bruise on my nub. Yesterday, I'm in doing the most ridiculous, it's Saturday squats, but I'm in doing the most ridiculous thing. I'm doing got the Mars bar on. I'm doing like Hatfield squats to an average height box, just with my left leg.
One leg.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not really like, it wasn't the craziest, most intense thing I've ever done by any means, but it felt good to do it.
Right.
It helped me mentally, it helped me emotionally, it helped me physically. Like I felt like I was getting a good workout in, but it's far from like what the standard plan of what a squat Saturday looks like. That's okay. Like
Right.
I still showed up and got it in, got the plan done. And it's just being adaptable to the situation, like what you described yesterday. You can still, and I think that is what allows us to stay on plan so much more often, when you can find ways to adapt to it, because you can either find excuses or you can find an adaptation. You could have just said, oh, I don't have time this morning. I'm not going to be able to make it, and this college visit's more important, so I'm not going to train. Like you could have so easily said that. But instead, your brain goes to a place of, how can I still get this in? How can I still get a good training session And I'll tell you guys, this is something I've been playing around with a lot. It's amazing what you can do with just 20 or 30 minutes if you are like wholly focused on whatever it is you're doing, especially with training. I've been doing a lot of, through the week, 20 to 30 minute training sessions, and I've found that I can accomplish quite a lot. Now, I'm not going to be peak powerlifting shape, but I can get a really good, really effective workout that aligns with my personal goals and priorities right now in 20 to 30 minutes.
We talked about that earlier, how, I mean, my whole style of training completely changed, and it's amazing how much more focused I am with less movements, and what I get accomplished in an hour and a half, as opposed to like some type of marathon session where it was just a lot of junk. And the proof is in the fact that I've gotten better. I've gotten so much better, mentally, physically, just overall. I have gotten so much better, and I feel very average, as far as like my performance. And I just want to continue to get better. It was great, like leading up to this meet, that I had some issues. I wasn't feeling great, and then I messed up my wrist when I was on vacation, and I was lifting in this gym. So I messed up my wrist when I was there, and that kind of affected some things, and had some issues with my left shoulder, and despite all that, just kept showing up every single day, and I still have gotten better. And even if like the numbers don't reflect it on meet day, I know I'm a much better lifter now than I was 2 years ago. Like night and day. When I look back, I'm like, okay, like there's definitely growth here. I had to relearn a lot of things, and I'm still dialing that in, like with my squat more than ever. Completely changed from sumo to conventional, which was the best move. And my bench is finally like, benching 145 pounds was really cool, and sounds like nothing, but it was big for me because I have -2 ligaments in my left shoulder, and that was huge. Every pound that I get on bench is like such a huge win, and mentally feels so good. So just keep chipping away and see what happens next. So
and I want to chat about that too, because I feel like it's so easy to get so wrapped up in the outcome of a journey. And this can be with anything. This can be with running, with business, with education and study. This can be with powerlifting. There's so many times where I see people, if things don't go exactly how they want them to, or exactly how they plan them to on meet day, then they let it totally derail them from what it is they have decided they were going to show up and do.
Right.
And I think it's this weird thing in our brain where we're so default programmed. We come out of the box so default programmed to want to stay safe. That's like written into our evolutionary genetics, and for good reason, because it propagates the longevity of humanity or whatever. But we're so defaultly programmed for that, to that point, that even with things like you show up to a meet, things don't go how you want, it's so easy to get in your head and allow it to mess with you and make the decision that, oh, I'm just not going to show up. Like, I'm just not going to compete anymore, because I would rather not compete than show up and fail. And you cannot allow that mindset to creep in.
I agree.
Because you have to basically rewire the default programming of your mind. And this can be done. I've done this. I know Natalie's done this. Austin's done this. You know, we've seen so many people do this. And this is largely like what we talk about all the time, like rewiring your brain to function in a different pattern. It can be done. Just like you can teach yourself to physically function in different patterns. You can teach yourself to run different, to walk different, to talk different, to do all these things. You can do the same thing with your mind. And it's so crucially important. You have to develop, I mean, you can get to the point that you almost develop an admiration for failure, but you at least have to develop an acceptance and an understanding of it. Because if you allow something like failure to totally shut you down, to totally derail you, well, then that's the ultimate true failure.
Right.
You know, if you show up and fail, and then you still, you come back to the drawing board, you come up with a new plan, you adapt, you stay on the path toward it, then you've not actually failed. You've not actually quit on that journey. You're still on the road to reach that success. And not only that, but it allows you to have so much more joy in the outcome, regardless of what the outcome is, because you then become married to the process of it, which is 100% what you've done. And that's why our message is be impossible, not so much do the impossible. Like, doing the impossible is that really amazing icing on the cake, you know,
and it will
incredible
eventually
moment.
come.
Yeah. If you never
and
stop
if it
working
doesn't,
toward it,
that's okay too.
Yeah.
And I think like training here has been awesome because Joe Howard, who owns the gym, trains in the morning, and he just embodies this so well, where he's an ultra runner and he's failed at 100 milers, and then he got it, and then he did more, and kept going back. And I just think watching that and being surrounded by that is so important, because it's not necessarily the outcome every single time that is the thing that is most important. It is the daily process, and that's what I love. I just love training. I love it. It's fun, even on the days that it sucks. It's fun, which sounds weird, and some people won't get that. But I think people that understand it are like my people, and I'm surrounded by those people here, which is really, really cool. I don't know what it's like to run 100 miles, and I don't want to know what it's like to run 100 miles, but I get why, because I think a lot of people would be like, that's just crazy. There's a lot of people think that I'm crazy, like, and I'm like, oh, there's way crazier things to do, you know. But I get it. I get why they want to do it, why Joe goes after the things that he goes after, and everybody else that trains here too. And it's cool to be surrounded by that, because those people just keep coming back. And I love that. And it helps you keep coming back too. Even when I know, like, people that I train with, like, they're going through this or they're going through that, or they've got this nagging injury, they work around everything, and they don't let it become a reason to miss. And that being surrounded by that is a blessing, I think. And it helps me come back all the time, even though, like, I'm gonna show up no matter what. But I have that as far as, like, I know, like, when I'm in here, I told you during my meet prep, like, I would time it out so that my top sets were always when Joe, like, rolls in and comes in the door, because he is like a well-oiled machine. I know exactly to the minute what time he is gonna be here. So I'm like, I'm gonna need a handoff, especially, like, with my shoulder on bench. If I get above 130, I need, even sometimes 125, like, I need somebody hand off, otherwise that my scap gets out of position, and it's not fun to unrack weight by myself. And he gives the best handoff, so and he's awesome. He comes to meets and does that for me. I mean, it's nice training with people that show up for you. And so he rolls in and immediately takes his shoes off, and he's like, yep, need one, okay, and he comes over and helps me out. he ran, he'll run 50 miles the day before and be like, yeah, I'll back spot you on squat. And I'm like, I love this. Like, it's nice knowing that somebody is always going to be there for you, and I would return the favor anytime. Even though I can't go out and run 100 miles. So.
Yeah, and it gives you like an added reinforcement. Having a whole community centered around a mindset like this gives you added reinforcement, and it creates a culture that you show up for as well.
Yes.
Because you're not going to miss for all the reasons we've already talked about, but when you can add on top of that, like, I'm not going to miss because Joe's going to be there, and he's not going to miss, or whoever else is going to be there, and I know they're not going to miss. It gives you that extra reason to show up, and it gives you something bigger than yourself to show up for.
Yes.
It gives you other people to show up for. It gives you a whole culture and a whole mindset and a whole ethos to show up for. And sometimes that can be so much more driving than even just showing up for ourselves. And I don't think it's a bad place to start kind of on this journey, finding something bigger than just yourself to show up for. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to be able to cultivate a belief in yourself and a confidence in yourself and a worthiness of yourself that you are worth showing up for. But there's some times where you're in a position that you just can't start there. You may not have that yet. And sometimes you need something a little bigger than yourself to show up for.
And I agree with that. Like, I know having women around me from the start that I am still such good friends with today, that are still that same supportive group of women that I kind of started this whole journey with, is so important to have. And everybody has different goals, and that's okay too. But having people around you that they do check in, and I'm supporting them, they're supporting me, that helps, especially when you're still just developing those habits and that confidence, because I definitely was not confident. And I feel like I finally am starting to like gain some of that, because even 2 years ago, I was not confident in my ability, and now I feel like I'm starting to be, which is awesome. I can take, like, especially like with my squat, I feel like, and I've got a long way to go, and I have a long way to go in everything, and that's okay. But I can take weights that like I would not have been comfortable like being under without anybody around, and I'm like, okay, it's so cool to be confident in the fact that like I know I can do this, and feeling like I know a little bit about what I'm doing now. And I still, like I said, I feel very much like a novice, but I also feel like the growth and development in the last year and a half has been huge. And you can't go back and change where you were, but you can get excited about the trajectory of where you're going. And that's what fuels me. Like, I think right now it's like, okay, here you were a year and a half ago, and here you are now. And even on your not best day, which was this last meet I had, but it still wasn't bad. Any day you can get on a platform is like, that's so freaking cool. And it wasn't a bad day, but it wasn't like a perfect day. And I'm learning that like the perfect days are super rare. I just happen to have like 2 back-to-back, and that's probably really rare. and that's okay. I'm still so much better than I was a year and a half ago. Like a whole different person that was always there, but now it's being developed, which is cool. So,
and that's the perspective to maintain, because that's the perspective that's going to keep you on the path. There's a guy, his name's Alex Hormozy. Austin's probably sick of hearing me talk about him.
No.
I think that his mind works a lot how my mind works, so I just get a lot. I learn a lot from him. I grow a lot from him. He's got a great beard and great biceps.
Okay, his biceps are pretty nice.
Anyway, beside the point.
And his delts.
He says that you should just focus on doing as much volume as you can over a long enough. If you do as much volume as you can over a long enough time horizon, you cannot fail. And with that kind of mindset, it's almost so freeing in the sense that I think back to here in August where I failed 500 on my first attempt, and then I come back to do it again on my third attempt. And there's so many people that approach me after that, and they're like, how did you mentally get to a spot where you could go from failing it to hitting it? Because it would be so easy to just let that failure completely control you and derail you. And I'm just like, I don't care. Like, obviously I want to hit it,
right,
but I don't care if I don't, because I know that if I don't hit it, I'm going to come up with another plan to just keep doing the same work until eventually I do.
Right.
And so that's literally the only thing you have to overcome is this ability to dedicate yourself. If it's something that truly means that much to you, you just dedicate yourself to it for an infinite time horizon. And if you operate with any amount of volume over an infinite time horizon, you're going to get there.
Right.
You're going to get there. You cannot fail if you look over a long enough time horizon. And whether that takes a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, it doesn't matter, because as you've said, the process is where all the growth occurs. And if you can get yourself, we talk about that default programming, if you get yourself into a mindset where you become default driven by the process of showing up every day, improving every day. You talk about the great days where everything just lines up. It may be rare for meets, but it's not necessarily always super rare in training.
Correct.
Like, how many days do you have through that prep, where you show up and you just feel like you were completely invincible?
And I had a great prep.
Yeah.
I did. I came off of like not having such a great couple months where I was not feeling 100%. And then we got into this meet prep, and I had a great prep. We came back from things I failed that I should not have failed, like when I wasn't feeling so great, to crushing it for triple, and then like moving forward. And I feel like Curtis programs so well. Like, anything he programs, like, I know I'm going to come in and I can do it. I know I'm going to be able to do it. And that doesn't mean you don't fail sometimes, because you do. I mean, there's just like daily.
If you are occasionally failing, then you're not actually pushing your highest potential.
But I feel like he's such a good teacher, and helps you with like the complete athlete, I guess, as far as like, how are you, like where's your mind, where are you physically, all of that. And I think that's really, really important, because that has helped me exponentially in the last year and a half, and gaining the confidence to know, like, wow, these were weights like I didn't even touch a year and a half ago. Like, I wasn't able to do this, and here we are. And I'm confident in the fact that, like, I know I will be able to do this, because he doesn't give me something he knows I can't handle. And that's pretty cool. And developing that trust with somebody is really cool too. Not saying that it's easy, and it's like, I know it's not going to be easy, but I know it's something that is attainable for me, which is nice. And that was a breath of fresh air, I think, in training for me. And I have fallen in love with this process over and over again over the last like year and a half. And I think we talked about this in, like, Curtis has a group where people can like talk back and forth, and you've been in it. And I said, I crave coming here every day, even when I know it's going to have something in the program that absolutely sucks and I know is going to suck. I crave that. And that sounds weird to some people too. They're like, that's nutty. But I know the people that get it, I know we operate the same.
Yeah. Well, it's developing such we talk about passion and purpose all the time. When you build such an intense passion for something, that even the moments and the days and the parts of it that really suck, you get excited for.
Yes. Like,
that's the key to success. That's the key to being able to succeed at whatever it is you want to chase. Like, when you guys were talking a little bit ago about Joe's run in the ice, and to the point that there's car wrecks and stuff going on, he's out running in the ice. It's like, you can build a mindset, and the whole time you guys are talking about that, I'm like, that's freaking awesome. Like, it was getting me excited.
Even yesterday, I text Joe, because I know he runs on Saturdays, and usually I'm like, how's the run? I want to know, because I'm in here. And I was on the way to Nolan's college visit, and Chad's driving, and I mean, it was like thick fog. Like, and I told Chad, watch, there's deer going to be running everywhere.
Yeah.
And I text Joe, and I was like, I know you're out in this fog.
Yeah.
And he's like, nothing's derailing my Saturday run. And he's like, we're out here. So he ran like 16 miles on the road yesterday in the fog and had Sarah come pick him up. But yeah, that's mild compared to the luge like ice storm track that he was on.
Yeah, but you get to this point where it's like you almost become even more excited.
Oh,
for
I guarantee he was pumped.
Suck.
He was so pumped that he's like, I'm out here running in the ice and the snow.
And it's not because you're like a glutton for punishment or you love the pain necessarily. It's because you build this internal belief that if I can overcome this, I can overcome all of these other things that are much greater challenges for me in life.
Exactly.
And that's the heart of where confidence comes from. We've talked about that. So kind of walk us through some of this, because the plan changed. You had started out, you were going to prep for an August meet, and then a lot of health issues, a lot of challenges, a lot of weird things came up along the way. And then you end up adapting to the situation, you plan a different meet, and you come through having amazing prep, but not necessarily the meet you were maybe hoping for originally. So walk us through a lot of that process of where things started, when things started becoming a challenge, where things started going wrong. Because I think it's important for people to understand, like, even though you were an incredible athlete and you show up every day without fail, that doesn't mean you don't have challenge you face. And so I think it's important for us to be able to hear and understand these times of like, here's challenge, here's how I worked through it, overcame it, and here's how I ultimately had a great meet prep, still showed up and didn't have the necessarily day I was hoping for, but it's not going to derail you at all. It's just going to be more fuel for whatever it is you chase next.
Absolutely. So we were prepping for the meet in August that you competed at, actually. And then I had an issue with my wrist. I was having heart palpitations all the time. There's a bunch of different things going on, and I kept showing up, but I went on vacation with my family, and I trained while I was on vacation, came back, had my wrist messed up at that point, to where like I had like no grip strength in my left hand at all. And it was for a long time, like months, which sucked. Took a squat. I think I got like folded by 260, which was not, I was supposed to triple it. That was not fun. And then I'm like, how did that happen? Like, oh, that stinks. Kept showing up. Everything's okay. And ultimately decided like, okay, let's find another meet. And then I kind of felt, I was like, oh, I'm like quitting by not doing this meet that I said I was going to do. And it was most definitely the best decision at the time. We did like a mock meet here, like a squat, bench, deadlift day, where Kurt came down, and that went surprisingly well. And I think I deadlifted 345 that day. I benched 135 and absolutely got buried by 145, which was weird, but my left shoulder was like not okay that day. Didn't hurt. It just, the stability wasn't there. And so it still wasn't bad. And then I squatted 280 that day. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like we're on the right track. And then we started meet prep for this meet, and it went real well. I mean, I was like, I tripled 260, and that was cool because I was like, this is the weight that I got buried by. So I felt like I was like, I'm back. I feel good. I felt healthy. Bench went awesome, which is huge for me, and just a couple pounds here and there is like such a big win. I get so emotional about bench, and you guys know why. So like everything went really well, and I pulled 350 in prep, and it moved well, and I'm like, okay, more is going to be there. Like that's awesome. So the meet came, and we had goals obviously that were totally attainable. Like I wanted a 285 squat. At the last meet I competed at, I squatted 271, and then had some issues with depth, and took 288 twice. But it was 271, so that's fine, whatever. And I squatted 271 again, and then I took 285, and it moved really, really well, but I did get called for depth on that. And so we're just going back to working on it. I mean, and it's all good. And I feel like I'm a much better squatter now than I was. I mean, even 271 is way more than I squatted before. And I just was not technically squatting the best that I could have been. And so I had to relearn a lot, and then had to get comfortable, like sitting in the hole, and that's okay. So sometimes you go backwards to go forward, and I'm totally okay with that, because I want to be the best lifter that I can be. And I weighed in at 145 for this meet, so I was a little bit lighter than I was the last time, and that's okay too. I benched went great. So 135 moved great, 137 moved great, and I ended up benching 145, so that was sweet. So I was like, cool, I have body weight bench, which I know is like not a big deal for a lot of people, but it's a big deal for me.
No, that's a huge milestone.
So that was huge.
Like, that's a huge, and not even just to like not even just say like men versus women, but like for a woman especially, like that is a huge accomplishment.
I was very happy with that. So bench went great, and I actually benched it twice, because it was my second attempt, and my butt came off the bench, and I've never had that issue. So it did, and I benched it, and then we took it again, and I benched it again. So it was cool. I was like, all right, well, I did that 2 times in a row, and I was very, very happy about that. That was big, because I've had a lot of blood, sweat, and tears go into getting this shoulder back to some semblance of stability. So that was great, and I honestly owe that all to Curtis, because he programmed so smart for me with this, and everything I've done is pain-free at this point, and it has not been in the past, and that's huge for me. It's one thing, like something that hurts because it sucks is one thing, you know what I mean? Like it hurts in a good way, or it's like hard or whatever, but when you're literally in pain, that's a whole nother thing. So I'm pumped. I'm able to do pull-ups, which was huge, because I remember the first time I did a unassisted pull-up before my shoulder was messed up, and that was like a huge accomplishment. Like I was so excited about it, and then this happened, and I wasn't able to do them at all, and now I'm back to being able to like rep them out, which is really, really cool. So that was a huge win, like throughout this prep, and even at the meet, that was like the highlight of my day was my bench. And then deadlift went well. I
you got to tell the story.
Minus. So my brain left the chat on on my opener, and I pulled 330 like how an opener should move. It was great. A lot
faster.
And
most openers move
very quick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, it's going to be a good day. And I jumped the down command, which I have never done and I don't know. It was totally me. It was like my brain just turned off, and I just put the weight down, and I knew I did it. So when I looked up, like I wasn't even like, oh man, when I saw red lights, like I 100% knew I did it. And I was like, you dummy. I may have said other things to myself, like in my head. So went over to the table, and I was like, we're going up, right? And Kurt was like, oh yeah. I was like, okay, good. Because I was like, it moved like great. So then I took 350, and it moved really, really well too. I mean, it wasn't easy or anything, but it moved. And my best deadlift in a comp was 361. And before that it was 351. But before that it was like 310. So was really happy with how the 350 moved, and the goal was 365, 370 range, hopefully, at this meet. And so we went 368, and I was like, I want that. Like, I could have played it safe. I didn't want to play it safe, and I got it off the ground, but then I missed it like below the knee. And I don't typically do that. But I think I may have, there's a lot of things that like I learned from that. I think I may have like got overly like aroused and pumped up for that lift maybe, and I need to learn to like harness that and be more technical, but also control how I approach like a heavy weight like that. And not that the other 2 lifts were light for me. I mean, those weren't light either. But I now am learning like, okay, when you get to this point, you need to start like being super technical is important. And so I definitely am going to focus on that more, and like getting my mind where I need it to be without being like completely like overstimulated is a challenge for me, because I do like to get like excited and attack something. It's how I was on the mound when I was a softball pitcher, and it's how I am now, but I need to like channel it more specifically. But
that's a really, really unique actually concept you bring up there. And I think it's something that all powerlifters have to, or strength athletes, maybe all athletes, but definitely you see it in the world of strength sports, especially in powerlifting. Like, it is a very emotionally driven sport because everything happens in like less than 10 seconds for each lift, you know, and when you concentrate that much challenge and pain and struggle and whatever it is you're working through, overcoming into that short of a time frame, like you can't help but get emotional about it in some capacity. Right. I mean, pretty much anybody who gravitates toward powerlifting has some sort of emotional background that is driving. There's nobody that's in powerlifting that is just totally emotionally put together and good to go and happy-go-lucky, you know. So there's always something there kind of driving you, and this was a skill I had to learn. And actually, I think it's like the main reason I failed that 500 the first go round in August. And Austin knew before I even got under that bar, I was too emotionally, and not just too emotionally charged, but I was like in kind of the wrong spot emotionally. Well, and see, I even hesitate to say that because we had a discussion afterward that like, and this is a whole separate conversation that we don't need to go into today, but I actually think I needed that failure on the 500. I think I really needed that.
I think
from
an
emotional and spiritual perspective.
I think I needed that failure on that deadlift. It's the first time I failed a deadlift in a long time. The first deadlift I failed in a meet since I've been training with Kurt, and it's okay. Yeah, and so I'm okay with it. Yeah, I finished. So with the missed down command, I was 5 for 9 on the day. Although I was like, it was 6, but it was 5 because that didn't count.
You only need 3.
So I was 5 for 9 on the day, and I was 10 pounds off of my best total. That's not that bad. And
with a huge bench PR.
Yeah, and if the squat,
so important for so many other reasons.
Yeah, and if the squat would have been good, then I still would have PR'd my total. So I'm like, okay, it wasn't what I wanted. It obviously wasn't what the icing on the cake goal was, but there were a lot of good takeaways, and I'm ready to like get after it and grow from it, and I'm excited. I'm excited for this week. I haven't touched a barbell since the meet. So I'm excited for this week, and I'm ready to roll.
Curtis, if you're listening right now, Natalie needs a barbell.
So, hey, they tried to get me to deadlift today, and I did not because I am.
We tried to get you to deadlift 600 pounds, actually.
So we stuck to the program.
You stayed strong. Despite the temptation that was there. Yeah, I'm going to make sure, because a little foreshadowing for you guys, we don't usually do this. We're having Curtis come on the podcast next week, and awesome. I am so excited for this episode because of specifically some of the things we're going to cover. But I'm going to make sure to actually get his perspective on that, because I think that's a skill you have to develop. We talk about the emotional domain of performance all the time. We literally talk about learning to build control over your emotions. You always have to be able to feel and process your emotions, but there's a difference between letting your emotions control you and you controlling your emotions. We got to get to a place where we control them. We basically create like not so much a filter, but like I look at it as like a water hose. You know, you can direct how wide or how concentrated the stream is. And we have to build up that skill to keep it concentrated and directed toward a very specific thing that's safe and healthy and productive.
Yes.
And I think that's a skill you have to build in powerlifting and strength sports to be able to get to this place where you've got that emotional drive, because it will enhance your performance.
Oh, yeah.
Like being totally apathetic versus having that emotional charge, like it will enhance your performance, and it's a good thing to have. But especially once you get to, I think, to become a more of a veteran in the sport, like where you are, the lifts become so technically driven at the same time that if you're too emotionally driven, you lose some of that technicality. And then, but if you focus too much on technique, then you're not getting the full benefit of that emotional drive. So you've got to find this really, really delicate sweet spot of being able to have that emotional drive without it compromising the technical side of the lift. So I don't have the answers for that, but I know Curtis will definitely have a good perspective on that.
We have talked about it already.
Okay, sweet.
And
what's some of the things he gave you for that?
So we didn't like get super in depth about it, but he's like, that last deadlift, like I went up and was just really like amped up for it, and I'm like, I'm pulling this weight, like, and I really thought I was gonna get it, and I think I just kind of like gripped and ripped, and like it was not as technical as like the other two at all. I know moving forward, just handling like heavier weights, like I'm going to channel that. Like I'm going to learn from that 100%. Like, and I'm going to get it the next time for sure. And I'm excited about that. Like, cause, we got kind of a plan together moving forward on like what we're going to do. And I'm excited for it. And I'm excited to kind of, grow in powerlifting, but I also got some other things that I want to do, some side quests. So at least one side quest, and then
we love side quests.
I want to stay. Like, I mean, I don't want to leave powerlifting. I want to be in this. We talked about that, like for the long game. And I'm already old, but I'm just going to get older and keep doing it. And I love it too much. But I also have some cool people in my life that are like, hey, you want to do this thing? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it, And I was asked about doing the Rachel Carson Trail Challenge with another parent of a childhood cancer survivor that Leo went through treatment with. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And so it's 37-mile trail endurance challenge. And it's on like kind of rugged terrain, and you have one summer solstice from sun up till sundown to get it done. So that's on the horizon, and I'm totally going to do it with some cool people that have been through it. And those are our people.
Yeah. I'm so pumped for this, because I think the world of endurance and the world of powerlifting are like, you could look at them as opposite ends of a spectrum, but I almost like look at it as like a circle, and they're like right beside each other, but completely, I don't want to say opposite, but like two sides of one coin. Both sports, both endeavors require you to push to a whole new domain beyond what was previously attainable to you. And so it's like a direct reflection of our message. We talk about like building that impossible version of yourself. Like that's what you're going to have to do 37 miles in 15 hours.
Oh yeah. This is this is definitely like way out of my comfort zone.
Exactly. But that's where that growth is like so hyper concentrated.
I told you earlier the hill raiser that I did with Joe was it was way more than I thought it was gonna. It was by far the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and the conditions were terrible, and it was freezing and raining, and not just raining, like to the point where it flooded, and they made people stop for a half an hour because you would get washed away. So, it was
That's amazing.
It was a lot.
That's just so beautiful.
So I'm pumped that I did it. And I did that. It was actually right when I started training with Curtis, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm doing this overnight, 15-hour nighttime endurance thing, And it was way more than I thought it was going to be. I mean, it was wild. And for Joe, he's probably like, it was a walk in the backyard, you know. But we're like rappelling, and like I've never rappelled before in my life. And like we're rappelling down like some crazy hills, and like you're literally putting it in 4-wheel drive, like on your hands and knees to get up some of these slopes. And you went down in this basin, and you went all the way around, and you had to climb back up out of it again, and then you had to do it again over and over again. And it was pretty wild. But that was the one where my friend ruptured his bicep because he slipped and coming off one of the ropes, and he held on, and his body went, and he held on, and he tore his bicep.
That's some grip strength right there.
But he's back in the gym, and he's benching 225. Like it's pretty cool. And he's a math teacher, and I'm an art teacher, and everybody there was like ex-military, and here we are. But it was really cool to do. I just want to do, and I think I told you this before, like I just want to do cool stuff for a long time, and I want to challenge myself. And so this is definitely outside of my comfort zone, but I'm not going to say no to another family that went through what we went through. And I think it'll be really good for me. It's also going to be really hard, and I'm here for it. Like, I'm excited about it. And I'm going to keep powerlifting too. So we'll see what happens as we move forward.
What kind of harkens back to what we talked about with that, like looking at the infinite time horizon, you know, it actually makes it more freeing because it takes away the urgency of everything. Like, you can still be a powerlifter and go out and do a 37-mile race. Yeah, maybe you don't compete again till next year, but that's fine. Like, if you're looking at this
we might throw it in there.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. But regardless, you're not looking at this as I've only got 2 or 3 years to do it. You're looking at this like I'm going to keep competing for another 40 years, you know? And you can do so many competitions in 40 years. And it frees you and opens you up to chase so many other pursuits as well. And not everybody's going to be geared toward that. Maybe you are like, powerlifting is the only thing that, and it is the thing.
And that's okay.
That's fine. Yeah, that's great. We love that. But at the end of the day, like you said, it doesn't seem like it's about the numbers for you specifically. Like, yeah, the numbers are a part of it. Like, you want to be able to hit these numbers on these specific lifts. But at the end of the day, that's not the number one thing that's driving you. It doesn't seem. It seems like there's something deeper there that's more about finding a level of potential, doing cool things, being able to challenge yourself in new and unique ways, and find things that you're capable of that maybe you never even dreamed you would be.
And I think mentally, for me, and everybody is different, but it's important. I want to push myself outside of a comfort zone. And powerlifting does that for me, but powerlifting is something I'm becoming more confident in doing. And I think there's value in doing something that you know you suck at. And I think there's growth, lots of growth that can come from that. And so that's so I've never, I think the end of the Pittsburgh Marathon relay might have been the farthest I ever ran in my life when I ran with you guys. And you know, I do like to ruck and hike and all of that. And definitely that hill raiser was like the farthest total mileage I've ever done.
And how many was that again?
I think I did 3, I think it ended up being like around 12.
12 miles?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was definitely different conditions than this
different
is going to be.
12 miles than like on the road.
And so this is also during the day. It starts at sunrise and it ends at sundown. So that is helpful. Middle of the night stuff was not fun. I'm like, yay, we're starting when I go to bed. We're starting at 8 p.m. and we're ending when I wake up in the morning.
Your body's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, so that was wild. But I'm so glad to have experienced that. It was horrible, but great at the same time. And it definitely was like a whole nother level of suffering that I have not experienced before, but I like grew so much from that. And I'm like, okay, like you finish it and you're like, I'd never do that again. And I was like, I probably would do it again. And I remember getting done with the first loop and I'm like, I don't even want to go out for the second one, let alone the third. But we made it happen, and it was pretty cool to like finish it. And I kind of feel like I'll if I attain this and make it happen, and I think I can, but I'll feel the same at the end of this, and it's just a new challenge, and there's something like exciting about that. And it's like also being kind of opposite end, like you said, of what I typically do. I like that. I'm going to maintain as much strength or even build more. I'm going to say it out loud. I don't care.
You're going to build more.
I'm going to build more while preparing for this thing. And I know that's like, sounds like you're defying the odds or whatever, but I don't care. So, and I think it's possible. And I'm excited to do this and to have like both of those kind of goals on the horizon, and it'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah. All limitations start with the belief that the limitation is real. Mm-hmm. Contrary to that, all limitations are destroyed by the belief that the limitation is not there.
Yep.
And yeah, maybe you're not going to be at your very highest possible level of strength by choosing to chase an endurance event at the same time, but maybe you'll find an even different level of strength. Mm-hmm. You're going to have improved conditioning, the level of mindset, and the mental strength and fortitude you're going to build from this endurance event. And that's what I've always told people is like, your strength is not confined to one domain. It's not confined to the physical domain. Strength is so heavily driven by the mental, emotional, spiritual side.
Believe it.
Like so heavily. And not only that, but it can also be corrupted by those sides as well. I mean, how many times have you watched somebody walk up to the bar and you just know, like maybe they fail a lift and then they get in their head and the entire rest of the meet is sabotaged. You know?
And it's so important. I mean, I just even know that from environment. Like your environment will like add or like suck the life out of you, and that is so important. And your mental strength that you build doing these different things will transfer to when life gets hard. I mean, I feel like I did it backwards in the fact that we went through a trial that built mental strength that I didn't know I had. And I think you've done that with what you've gone through. Austin's done that with what he's gone through, and he has continued to go through. And watching you both handle the things that life has dealt, and it deals a crap hand sometimes. I mean, it does. And I felt that when Leo went through what he went through, and as a parent watching that and trying to be the best parent possible when your whole world is falling apart, built mental strength and calloused my mind in ways that has transferred over to helping me in doing hard things. And so I guess, and I'm sure you can attest to this too, like when we do hard physical things like this, and it's like, oh, that was hard, but it's like it's not hard compared to going through watching your child deteriorate in front of your face, or going through the things that you've gone through with your cancer journey. It's not hard. So it's like when people are like, man, this is tough, I'm like, this is not hard. This is physically hard for a moment, but I think mentally when things are hard, that's a whole nother level of hard. And so I think it does help you build a mindset to push yourself past things that other people think, oh yeah, that's kind of hard, or that's hard, or that's crazy. In my mind, I'm like, oh no, this is not hard. Like, we got this all day long.
Yeah. And it kind of slowly works to, again, change some of that default programming in your mind of like, these are like the good hard things.
Yes.
Like these
yeah,
are the hard
we're
things
blessed
we get
to have this hard day.
Yeah.
So even when like that meet, you know, even when it's a hard day, it wasn't the best day, it's a freaking great day. It is such a great day because you're dealing with a whole different kind of hard. And it's a good hard. As opposed to your child has cancer hard. That hard is, I can't even describe how that feels inside of your soul. That's like soul crushing hard. Failing a lift at a powerlifting meet, you are blessed. You are blessed. Like, that's a damn good day. And you get to come back and do it again if you have the mental fortitude to show up for yourself again. And why wouldn't you? Because we're so blessed to have every single day. And I think I always talk about like, change your perspective, change your life. And I don't want anybody to experience the things that you guys have gone through and the things that Leo has gone through and our family has gone through. But that perspective gained from those situations will literally change your life. And I think that it changed it in ways that made every single one of us mentally stronger. That if you haven't gone through it, then you just don't have it. And thank God you haven't. But I think that's important.
Well, it's something you chose to do too. You know, I've said before, because I struggled for a while with this notion of like, you can build gratitude for any situation, because certainly that's true for a lot of situations, but there are situations out there that are so horrendous that you will never be thankful that they happened. You will never be thankful that Leo had cancer.
Right.
And so I struggled with that for a while, and I'm like, that just doesn't seem right to me. Like, I could never look like this mom, my friend, in the eyes and say, you should be thankful for that. Like, I could never ever do that. And so where I kind of reconciled it, where I came to like a compromise with the idea was, even though there are situations where even though you'll never be thankful this happened, you can still build good from the situation, even though you had to go through it.
And I think that is the thing that keeps you from your heart turning so cold. It truly does, because I know I wanted to burn the world down at first, and for a long time, because you just want to fix your kid. Any parent, you know, you want to take pain away from them. You want to make them better. You want their life to be pain-free and not easy, but you know, we want to do the best we can to help your child not hurt. And I was angry. And I think the thing and that shift, it's not gratitude for what happened, because I would go back. Would you change it? Yes. 1,000 times yes. I would never want him to go through that if he didn't have to go through that. But seeing, and for me, just my faith, like seeing God's hand on him through, and our family through all of it, helped me realize, like, this good came, and this good came, and this good came, and here's what he learned, and here's where we are, and look at where we were and where we are now. And the gratitude for that change has helped me not have a bitter heart, and went from a place of anger to a place of gratitude for the now. Not the then, I'm never going to be grateful for the then. I am grateful for the blessings that occurred along the way. And the times that just, it was literally a miracle, things that happened here and there. But the gratitude for now and the gratitude for every day keeps me from being angry. And I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. And just the knowledge of knowing that what happened, and there's nothing you can do to change it, even though you would 1,000 times if you could, but there's just nothing you can do to change it. But going forward, there are two ways you can go forward. You can either be bitter and resentful and angry at the world for what happened, which is only going to tear you down and everybody around you, or you could choose to show up every day and build as much good from it as possible. And that's what you've chosen to do 100%. And that's where our line of your potential is your responsibility comes from. That idea that, yes, these horrible, awful things happen to you and those you love. And that's horrible. That's horrendous. And I don't ever expect anybody to be grateful that those things happen.
Right.
But I think the only path forward that we can take in order to build a life of gratitude going forward is to build as much good from that situation. Look at that situation and say, here's what I can take from this. Just like you took the mental strength of being able to wake up at every day at 3 a.m. and now, like you've talked about on previous episodes, now you channel that towards something positive.
Yes.
And I think that's really where the key lies, being able to look at, okay, this happened to me, and now it's my duty to bring as much good from this as possible so that anybody else who's ever in that situation, because it's as much as we hate it, it's going to happen to other people. Maybe we can make it better for them.
Right. I agree. And be that light they need to see at the absolute darkest time. And I had that. We had that during Leo's journey. And it was like, okay, look at this family now. All right, we're going to be there. We're going to get there. And now here we are, like, actually in survivorship. And it's like, okay, like, let's be that for someone else. And it's happened to where I've had other moms reach out to me, and I'm thankful for that, because I don't ever want anybody to feel so very alone, because you do, until you find other people. And it's like that club that you never wanted membership to, but now you're here. Be that light for other people. And you guys are, like, you're a beacon of that for so many people. And I think that is where that not gratitude for what happened, but gratitude for where we are comes in, and people see that.
Yeah. So there's actually a photo on my phone, and I'm going to show it to you when we're done. I'm sure I've shown it to you before, but it's one of my, you talk about these moments of being able to, like, be that light for somebody else. And we've been blessed to have some of those moments, and I don't really ever credit it so much as to, like, what we've done, but just what, the people themselves have done in these situations. And one of those moments was at the Pittsburgh Marathon that we ran, that you talked about earlier. And I talked about this moment with a kid named Sam last week at the Columbus Marathon we had, and this is like the same kind of moment. But it was that Pittsburgh Marathon. It would have been April of 24? Yeah, April of 2024. And you and Leo did the final leg of that, which was like 4 miles or so, I think. And I think it was like he had just started getting into running a little bit then, like, or at least longer distances past like the 5K. And then it ended up being so much more of like a meaningful race for you guys because of some of the situations, like being back at that hotel was your starting point.
Right.
Just crazy, totally random. But Pittsburgh being the city, you guys battled cancer together, and there's just so many layers of meaning and significance and importance to that race. And then I will never forget that moment at the finish line, because you and Leo got to finish the race for our relay team, which was just so cool for him to be able to have that finish line moment.
And he was like, can I go? Because he didn't want to stay with me because I'm slow. And I was so nervous about letting him go. And I did. I let him go with 40,000 people around. And And he smoked me. He went.
Took off.
Yeah.
And it's those moments where like he has that opportunity to see some of his own potential. Mm-hmm. And so there's this moment at the finish line where he's got this medal around his neck, and I got this picture of just like him. He's just like looking off in the distance. He's got this like smile on his face, and there's this like specific like light in his eyes, and I'm like that's it right there.
Yes.
Like that's the look of seeing your own potential, knowing, getting a glimpse of what you're capable of and what you can overcome. And those are just like, those will forever be some of the most meaningful moments of my life.
See, and that led into him, running the Columbus half.
Yeah, 6 months later, he does the Columbus half.
In an hour and 45 minutes. And as a mom, like standing at that finish line and watch, and I'm like, he's running 730 miles for 13 miles. This is insane. And he did. And he looked so strong coming across that finish line. And for me, I wept because that for me is just, the gratitude I had that day was just wild, because there were times I held him because his feet hurt from neuropathy, and rub his legs because he can't sleep because of the neuropathy. And then, where he was limping with like almost foot drop, and there was just so much that he went through and so much physical therapy. And then to see him do that, no one would have ever known that he went through what he went through. And he absolutely crushed it. Yeah. And just even now, like seeing him make the varsity golf team and go out and play every single round with his brother as senior year, as a freshman, like it was really awesome to see. And he, like I said, he'll forever be my reason why, because he just doesn't ever think about like, I went through these things or I have these issues or whatever. He just does stuff. and I love that. And he shows me and everybody that sees him, like, you can do these things, and live such a full life when life was super unfair. Yeah. And he never ever goes back and says like, why did that happen to me? And even though as adults, like, I think we try to process that kind of stuff all the time. And he's older now, and he still doesn't go back and say that. He just lives life, and he looks up to you all so much, and he sees you pushing for the things that you're pushing for. And I think that you're the example of that light that you need to be for other people. And it's just, I'm so glad I met you both that first meet where I had my childhood cancer ribbon socks on. And
I will never forget that. And thanks to Clayton for introducing us too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Good stuff.
But I think you've also got to allow yourself to understand that even though he sees us doing what we're doing, he sees you. He sees his mom waking up every day at 3 a.m. without fail and going and chasing her highest potential and believing that she's capable and she can overcome hard things. And that is a direct example you're providing him every single day, him and Nolan, and that's got to have a power behind it that I don't think you could ever understand.
Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah. We talked about my love for Alex Hormozy. He's got another quote I'm going to bring up here to close this out. He talks about when you're deciding which way you want to go in life, what you're going to do when you're stuck between like, I could do this thing or I could not do it, or I could do this other thing. He always says, make your decisions based on, at the end of your life, what's going to be the best story to tell. And there's so much discussion and complexity behind the meaning of life, but I think it can be so simply boiled down to live a life that creates stories worth telling.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the opportunity to get to do that today with you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Yeah, we always love having you on, and we are actually extremely honored and excited to be here at Uncommon Breed. I hope we get to do more episodes at this place, because I know you guys on YouTube are seeing this. It's what did you call it? Anabolic lighting.
Yes.
We're all feeling a little pumped up right now. Austin's biceps are like at least 3 inches bigger than they normally are.
There's not a bad place to take a picture in this gym.
But beyond just the lighting and the facility and everything, there is that culture here. Yeah. And I don't know that we could ever create a true definition of why or how it happens, but we've talked about it before on the podcast and episodes. Like, you can feel it when you walk into a place where impossible things are happening. And we certainly feel that here. So thank you to Joe. Thank you to Sarah for letting us come in and record here. Thank you to you for letting us come up here very early in the morning to get a great training session. And then you guys got a good little sauna session in too. And we hope that we get to do this again someday.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Austin, brother, you got anything else for today?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Guys, there's one thing I forgot. Really quick. I was just about to start talking about it. We offer to our online school community the chance to get to become a part of the discussion on the podcast. And I think we've already touched on this a lot, but we had some questions for you.
Oh, okay.
If you don't mind. Mm-hmm. So this is from Arlen Smith, who actually competed with you last weekend. And let me tell you, she raved about you the whole weekend.
I love her. She's awesome.
You guys both, I think, bring a lot of that mindset. She says, first off, I love you, Natalie. Hi to Leo. And then she says, how do you maintain not only a sense of composure, but also tenacity while being a mother and athlete and handling your own health outside and inside?
So I think through consistency more than anything is the best way to like maintain all of those things, and discipline allows you to do that. Mm-hmm. So we talked about like meal prepping, like that's huge for my family and for health and everything like that. And just, I'm disciplined in meal prepping. I know that it's going to happen every Sunday. I'm going to feed my family. I'm going to like fuel myself. They're going to eat the things that I eat, and I make that a priority. And I guess priorities too, that also feeds into discipline, but like being as disciplined as I can be in all of those areas of my life allow me to do all of those things. And also knowing that like my children are watching. Yeah. And so I just want to show them like create habits, good, consistent habits that make you a disciplined young man, because it will just flow over into everything that you do. And I tell my kids all the time, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Yeah. And so, like if I go and your bed's not made in the morning and you had a crappy round of golf, like I point that out. Like, look at that, like slop here, so it transferred. And and I'm just honest. I'm honest with my kids. I'm honest with myself. Like it's the truth. Like how you start your day, how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you're lazy here in one aspect, then you're going to be lazy. It will find its way into something else. Mm-hmm. And I think bringing that to everything that I do has helped me be able to just do all those things without it being like any big deal to me. It's mm-hmm. just what I do. So
yeah, I love that perspective and that idea that what you allow in one area will creep into everywhere else. Yeah. But I think what you bring to one area will, like on the converse side of that, like if you're bringing discipline and
yes.
intensity and focus to every area,
it will
follow into everything else. I really love that perspective, so I appreciate you bringing that up. So guys, that's what we've got for today. And as always, the number one thing we ask for on this episode, because we don't take breaks to run all these advertisements and things like that. The number one thing we ask is that if you got something out of this episode today, which we know you absolutely did, we ask that you please share it with as many people as you know who you believe it will help. Because at the end of the day, that is how we live our mission to ultimately realize the vision we have at Impossible Performance. Because at Impossible Performance, we are striving to build a global culture of strength, fostering a spirit of growth in constant pursuit of the impossible. Thank you for listening, and as always, be impossible.